Darley Stud has a great record of bringing some of the most influential global stallions to Australia, not least of all the sire of the mighty Winx, Street Cry. Basically a nephew of Street Cry, Shamardal, a breed shaper himself, has also had a huge influence in Australia, and that's set to continue through the sons of Shamardal. Standing out here this year, Pinatubo, Victor Ludorum, Earthlight and Blue Point.
Shamardal by 4 in second and Ludorum, third Oratorio. What a great moment for him to have won the
Alastair, it's just a beautiful day here at Kelvinside. I mean, it's wonderful, the rain that has made everything so green, and maybe a bit too much rain, but it is just glorious this time of the year.
It is. We're having a fantastic season. New South Wales has never looked so good, and this is when you want to live in the Hunter Valley. We've already had a lot of people through admiring our new stallions, and we expected a positive response, and we've got it. They're great horses, and they look the part.
But Karen McAvoy on Shamardal is going to romp home with the St James's Palace Stakes.
Well, we're looking at Shamardal and the sons of Shamardal. I mean, the influence that this stallion has worldwide is quite astronomical, but I'm always really interested in looking back at them as racehorses, some of these great stallions. And people forget what a champion racehorse he was. He won the Dewhurst, the French 2000 Guineas, French Derby and St James's Palace Stakes. That is one elite racehorse.
He was a horse with a great story. He was diagnosed as a wobbler as a weanling, and he was sold for only $50,000 as a yearling, but he belied to the so-called experts, and Mark Johnson trained him as a 2-year-old, Saeed trained him as a 3-year-old. He was one of the greats for Godolphin. As you said, he won. He was 3 out of 3 as a 2-year-old, the champion 2-year-old winning the Dewhurst Stakes, an elite mile and a quarter horse at 3. He was a dominant horse of his year. He injured himself just before the Eclipse Stakes, so he stood in his southern hemisphere before he stood in the north, and he only stood 5 seasons here, but he had an immediate impact. He got Faint Perfume, who you know well. In his first crop, he also got Captain Sonador. He was a terrific horse down here, and unfortunately injury prevented him from shuttling throughout his career. But wow, what a stallion he turned out to be. I think he sired 161 stakes winners all up. Lope de Vega is his best son at stud so far. And he was from his first crop. Lope de Vega's sired 99 stakes winners so far, so he's proven that Shamardal's a great sire of sires. I think every son of Shamardal at stud has sired a stakes winner somewhere or other, so what we've got to look forward to is immense.
But we're here to talk about the sire sons in particular, and Australian breeders are just so lucky to have some wonderful representatives to choose from amongst your Darley stallions.
Well, we'll start with Pinatubo. Eat, sleep, win, repeat is the tagline that our nominations man, Arvind Shadi, came up with. And wow, that's perfectly apt, because he was a very laid-back, relaxed horse who got to the races and just did what he did. He never did much in the morning, but he did plenty in the afternoon. He kept it all for race day, and he just got better and better. He started off at Wolverhampton, a lowly track in England, went through Epsom to Royal Ascot, won the Chesham Stakes at Royal Ascot in course record time for a juvenile. Then he went on to Goodwood, but it was in the National Stakes in Ireland that he really announced himself.
But it's Pinatubo accelerating away in the Goffs Vincent O'Brien National Stakes.
Dominant win by 9 lengths, quickening clear from the furlong, and Timeform described it as the defining juvenile performance of our era. They made him Horse of the Year as a 2-year-old. Not many achieved that. And of course, Caro, after the National Stakes, he went on to win the Dewhurst equally impressively, beating a high-class field. They were trailing in his wake.
The Royal Blue Pinatubo, who's in front of him now. 6 from 6. Pinatubo wins by a couple.
He came back, of course, at 3, won the Prix Jean Prat. I guess COVID obviously has played with his time in being able to come to Australia, but so great to see him here now.
It is terrific, and everyone who sees him, wow. I mean, he's such a powerful, thing about the Shamardal line and his relation Street Cry is they've got substance. Their trainers love them because you can train them. They've got plenty of size, substance, bone. They're masculine horses. He's a great example. He's got great quality for a Shamardal. He's got a beautiful head on him. He's got great depth and length and strength, and he moves well. Wow, he's some horse and a terrific racehorse. You know, he was an outstanding racehorse. Probably at his best at 7 furlongs and below when they tried him at a mile, despite the fact that his father won at 1.25 miles and his mother won at 1.25 miles. He didn't get a mile. He basically ran 3 times second in a mile in elite company. At 7 furlongs and below, he was never beaten, and he was an absolute star.
How's he been received? Describe, conformationally, obviously there's so much speed there, but what sorts of mares do you think he suits?
Well, I think he's going to suit a lot of mares, and the Danehill line suits Shamardal very well. But he is a heavy horse, and breeders will have to watch that. You don't want to send him too heavy a mare, I wouldn't have thought. But he's going to find a lot of everyone who's seen him so far just ogles over, and they all want to send 2 mares instead of 1. He's covering a full book this year, extremely popular as you can imagine. So he's going to get every opportunity. We've got a lot of nice mares lined up for him. He's an outcross to all of the Danehill line blood we've got. We know that Shamardal works so well with that Danehill line, so we're in good shape.
Victor Ludorum and Barcelona have got it at the moment.
Looking at Victor Ludorum, another son of Shamardal here at Kelvinside, a 2-time Group 1 winner in France. I mean, that is elite. We're talking about some of the best bred horses in the world compete at that high level in France. All those Aga Khan horses, and it is just elite racing on a global scale. Won the Prix Jean-Luc Lagardère. What an effect that race has had on the breed.
Absolutely. I mean, he won the right races. I think that's the key message. And so he won the Lagardère, as you say. And then at 3, he came back. He was trained by Andre Fabre, the same as Lope de Vega was. And at 3, like Lope de Vega, he had a couple of prep runs into the French Guineas. And then he won the French Guineas like Lope de Vega did and like Shamardal did. So he has a very similar profile to his father and to his father's best sire son. So I think of all the 4 stallions by Shamardal that we stand, he's the one closest in profile to his father, and he could be the one. You don't know.
And again, then how do you describe him, for a mare owner thinking, I wonder if the match-up works?
He's got plenty of depth. He stands about 16 hands. He's got a lovely head, a good head for a Shamardal again. Plenty of rein. He's got tremendous depth of girth and a tremendous hindquarter. He moves beautifully. He reminds me of Street Cry the way he moves, and Street Cry's from his family. So he's by Shamardal, from Shamardal and Street Cry's family. So he's got a lot going for him. Again, I don't think he's a difficult horse to mate.
King Neptune on the far side has led all the way. Earthlight now sticking his head down.
And of course, you've sent some of these wonderful sons of Shamardal to Northwood in Victoria, which is great for breeders. They're really improving the mares, the brood mares within Victoria. So, some of these better brood mares get a great opportunity to get that Shamardal blood. Starting with Earthlight, of course, the pre-morning Middle Park Stakes winner. Again, an elite racehorse at 2. He won 5 from 5 as a juvenile. And I guess here the main talking point is the Newmarket track record in winning that Middle Park Stakes.
Absolutely. They've been racing at Newmarket for a long time, Caro, and to win a Group 1 2-year-old race, probably the top 6 furlong 2-year-old race in England. He won it in track record time. But Shamardal's 2017 crop, so that was Pinatubo, Victor Ludorum and Earthlight. What amazing crop that was. I mean, I think it was his 11th crop, but a breakout crop nonetheless. I mean, to have the 3 top 2-year-olds in Europe was unbelievable. Earthlight was one of the very best, as you said, 5 from 5 as a 2-year-old, went over from France to England, having won the pre-morning Group 1, won the Middle Park. What a superstar he was.
He's interesting. He's from a new approach mare, so the Galileo in there as well. And again, such a great outcross for Australian mares, but has that speed. He covered 109 mares last year. And what's the general feeling about Earthlight? I mean, he's spoken of as being the spitting image of Lope de Vega.
He's very much an Aussie horse. People who see him in Victoria, we had our parades in Victoria last weekend, and he was the horse that got most plaudits and got most business because he's a real Aussie tile horse. He's strong, he's muscular, he's got a great walk to him. He's got a great temperament. He's a real dude, and everyone who sees him just loves him. People like us 2-year-olds in Australia, and he was a very, very good 2-year-old.
Blue Point is chipping away at Battle to the near side under William Buick.
Blue Point, of course, what a remarkable tough sprinter he was. I mean, he had the runs on the board over a number of seasons, won 3 Group 1 sprints at Royal Ascot. And the beauty of Darley is, of course, the mares he's covered in his full book so far. Animato, the dam of your latest star in Animo, who could be absolutely anything. Golden Slipper winner Forensics, Canedna, Russetting, you know. He is such a great outcross for that Danehill blood, isn't he?
Yeah, and he was a horse that Charlie Appleby said announced himself straight away. As soon as they galloped him, he knew he was good. He won a Group 2 as a 2-year-old. He won group races from 2 right through to his 5-year-old career. He was an absolute star racehorse. So of course, he's still the only horse to have won 3 Group 1 sprints at Royal Ascot. He won the races that Aussies can relate to. So in Dubai, he won the Alquoz Sprint. That's been won by Hortensia and Buffering. In England, of course, he won the King Stand Stakes. Now that's won this year by Nature Strip. We all follow that race so closely. And then he won the Diamond Jubilee, which of course Black Caviar won. So he won the races that we can relate to. He was an absolute superstar sprinter. He's been well supported since he got here. He's now in his 3rd season here. He's been superbly supported by all the best breeders, with obviously particularly in Victoria, but plenty of people from New South Wales have sent mares down as well. So he's going to get every chance. His oldest are yearlings going to the sales next year. They're sold well as weanlings. They're great sorts, like he is himself. He's probably the most like his father in terms of looks. I mean, their heads are almost exactly the same. But who's going to pick the best one? I don't know.
That's the lottery, isn't it, of it? But some great opportunities for mare owners in New South Wales and Victoria. And we've spoken in the past about the incredible record that Darley has here in Australia with imported stallions, such as obviously Winx and Sire, Street Cry, the close relation to Shamardal, Shamardal himself and so many others. So it is great to get that incredible representation of elite European blood. We are talking the elite of the elite, aren't we?
I think that's it. And it's you've got the opportunity to get a really, really good horse, a Winx, or a Happy Clapper, or one of those. Shamardal starred Able Friend in Hong Kong. He was a great sire in Hong Kong as well as here, Pakistan Star and horses like that. So we're talking about the ability to get an absolute top-notcher like an Animo. That's what these shuttle horses can give you.
The G1 Goldmine focus on Shamardal and his sire sons showed the 4 stallions featured on Bred to Win generally follow the pattern in their racing careers, similar to a sire son such as Lope de Vega, and that is speed. Interestingly though, if you want a miler, it seems 4-time Group winner Pinatubo and 3-time Group winner Victor Ludorum are your best bets. Looking at the nicks that have worked best with Shamardal, Danehill comes out on top with 14% being Group 1 winners and 17% stakes winners. Sadler's Wells, Green Desert, Darshan and Galileo are also prominent, and another feature is that mares from Galileo's dam Urban Sea crossed with the Shamardal line produce nearly 12% stakes winners to runners.